Welcome back. So, I'm Jake. He's Jake. Back to give you our 2 pence on fitness advice, training, nutrition, how to essentially help you get into the best shape of your life. Without all the fad
Without the science.
and the science. Yeah, we're not going to be sat here lecturing you about all the science and
Just
all
talking a
that
bit of
boring
shit
stuff,
about it,
yeah, 'cause
really, aren't
you probably don't care about it.
we?
So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to give you some useful advice. Now, so we've just done the episode, haven't we, on sort of coaching horror stories, bad examples we've seen. So it leads quite nicely in what we want to talk about today, which is how to find the right coach for you.
Yeah.
Which is important because I think a lot of the times, and look, he's using analogy, you've got to kiss a few frogs, haven't you, before you find a prince. Like we've all had a few different coaches, not necessarily bad ones, but just ones that maybe weren't the right fit. And we wanted
Learning experiences.
yeah, exactly. And sort of with each one, I guess it's like finding a barber or something like that. You might go for a few different ones before you find one that sort of matches really well with. So we wanted to chat about how can you sort of find the right coach for you, because if you're sat in a position where you know you need a little bit of help and you're ready to look for that help, there's a lot of mistakes you could potentially make with picking the wrong people, and you want to make sure that if you're going to be investing money and time and effort into it, that it's with someone that's going to understand you, know what you want to do, and be able to help you with that.
Yeah, because let's be honest, I mean, there's loads of coaches out there, loads of personal trainers.
Too many.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, these are the only two that you need to know. But no, it's there are plenty, and I think you have to understand that your values should really be in line with that person, and a lot of the time, us as coaches, and I don't think we're ashamed to say this, but like we speak about the same things. We've got the same qualifications. We've got the same kind of knowledge base. A lot of us, do you know what I mean? Some don't. Some are hopeless. And some are super intelligent, right? But what I'm trying to say is it's not necessarily about what someone knows. It's more about, do you click with that person? Are you going to get along with them? Are you going to be able to open up to them about the issues that you're having?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to be honest with them? And that's really important, I think, rather than the actual kind of implementation and not the implementation, that's the wrong word, but the knowledge that coach might have.
Yeah. And I think, before we sort of say what you potentially should look for, I guess it's useful to say what not to look for, or certainly what mistakes to avoid. And for us, the main one is, don't just go to the biggest guy in the room or the biggest girl in the room, whatever it is. Like, and we can sit there and we'll get stick sometimes. I've certainly had it in the past where people are like, "Are you just saying that because you're not the biggest guy in the room?" And it's like, yeah, I'm not. Obviously, I'm not. I never will be, and I'm fine with that. I don't want to be, but a lot of the time, it's difficult because you look to someone who is in great shape, and it's natural to be like, I wonder what they've done. Like, I'll just do what they've done because it's worked for them. But that person is like 1 in a million, 9 times out of 10. Like, and our argument often is, you can go for someone like that, but a lot of the time no matter what they did, they would have got a good result.
They would look that way regardless.
They can train horrendously and they'll still get a pretty good result. They can eat horrendous. I mean, we've all got a mate who eats horrendous and just has a six-pack year round. Like, if he told someone else what to eat like him, it would not be the same result.
It wouldn't work.
Exactly. And a lot of the time, like these guys, don't get me wrong, they can be great coaches. We're not saying they can't be, but a lot of the time, if you just go to that person because they're in shape, you might find that the way that they've done it doesn't necessarily suit you. And actual fact, they can't relate to what you're struggling with because for them, it came a little bit easier. For them, they might be a bit more passionate, like their life might be around the gym, whereas yours might not be.
And that's it. I think if and on Instagram and TikTok and like the way social media works now, obviously the algorithm picks up these kind of super looking people and like it's the top 1% of people. And and essentially generally what happens is you've got someone who's always been in good shape, always will be. They've got great genetics. They also kind of dedicate a lot of time to it, maybe more time than you'd ever want to.
The life's literally set up around it, isn't it?
Exactly.
They're literally set up to go to the gym to get in shape.
Live in Dubai, shape, meal prep, and anyway, all this kind of stuff. And then you look at it and you go, well, I want a lot of that. And why the fuck wouldn't you? Because it's fantastic. But all they're going to do is tell you what they've done or just
not be able to relate to you when you've got just normal day-to-day struggle.
They're not going to understand the stuff that you're going through on a daily basis. So I think what you're trying to say is just because someone looks a certain way, it doesn't mean that they're going to be able to help you with your particular issues.
Yeah. And quite often than not, like when you get coaches like ourselves who are, like we said, we're not the biggest guy in the room and we've had struggles. All right, I'll speak for myself. But we have had to sort of struggle a bit to get even just to where we are now and figure stuff out and try different things out. Like we're better at relating to the problems that you're having when it comes to figuring those things out, because we've literally had them ourselves. Like we've not just picked up a dumbbell and gained size relatively easy. We have had to trial and error a hell of a lot of things and make a lot
Too
of
many.
mistakes
Yeah.
along the way.
No,
So
that's it.
you do get that side of it where it's like, it's not just about how big you are. It's actually, okay, well, can you relate to what this person is actually trying to do and what they're struggling with, and this and stuff like that, really.
Yeah, no, and that's it. And I think that comes, a lot of that, you'll get that from places when you're picking a coach, you're probably looking at things like Instagram, etc. And I reckon me and you even have slightly different clients. Like, for example,
Yeah,
a lot of the vast majority of my clients are like are parents nowadays.
yeah,
Again,
yeah, yeah,
maybe because they relate to the fact that I've got a kid, etc. And they've
yeah.
got, oh, well, he understands what it's like to have no sleep, or
Mm,
understands the struggles you go through on that kind of daily basis. Whereas, that's again, that's good for me because I've got people who are relating to me as a
yeah,
person, and that means that we're gonna hit it off as well. So again, sometimes quite often I'll get people who enjoy a beer at the weekend because I enjoy a beer at the
yeah,
weekend, and again, I understand that kind of getting results and finding that balance long term is really important to those people. I've managed to do it myself. Took me a long fucking time to figure it out, but I managed to do it myself. And again, it just makes me more relatable to that particular person.
And we literally had this. So we had this conversation because we had someone inquire with both of us, didn't we, the other
Mhm.
week, and was very open about it. We knew that they'd inquired with both of us, and we said to this person, look, regardless of which one of us that you do go with, you're gonna get a good service. We're gonna look after you pretty much the same. How we work is very, very similar. So it just comes down to who you're gonna connect more with and who you're gonna relate more to. And they were like, that is
It's
literally
literally
it.
it.
Like, you just choose. There's no pressure. There's no hard feelings. Like, we're not gonna be upset about it either way. Just have a bit of a think about it and pick whoever it is that you feel like you're gonna connect better with and get on better with.
It is literally that.
And I think even then, like, there isn't really much difference between us with this
Not at all.
specific person. Because I know, speaking to that person, they said to me, their big selling point for you that I didn't have was the fact that you've got a young kid. Obviously, you're a young dad, which was the situation that they're in. So I was like, that's cool. I was like,
Yeah.
if that's it, that's it.
And that is exactly it. And if you know you're going to get along with that person, then the chances of you getting a result, they massively, massively, massively increase. And I
Mm,
think that's hugely overlooked.
yeah. Whereas
Um,
I just tend to attract people that like rice cakes or like Google Sheets. That's about it. That's about it. The geeks.
yeah. But yeah, so I think there's obviously there's a lot to it. It's not just that. You've obviously then got to look at results. Does that
Yeah.
person get results? Because I think that's a big thing as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I think we live in a generation where it's very easy if you're good at understanding algorithms and all that kind of stuff, which mean you aren't particularly great at. We have to be honest. Like,
Can't keep up with them.
exactly. But it's you do see you go onto Instagram, TikTok, or whatever, and these people they make these dead engaging videos,
Yeah.
and they get like 400, 500,000 followers, and I nothing against that. They're fantastic at that kind of stuff. But often, and again, I'm not throwing shade on them or anything, but it's like, well, are they getting results for clients?
Mm.
Because sometimes you don't see that. And I think sometimes just because someone's got a big following, it doesn't necessarily make them a good coach.
No, yeah, not all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the right coach for you is probably the best way.
It literally has no impact on it. It just gives a sense of like perceived authority, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When they've got a load of followers, it tends to give that image of, well, they must know what they're doing because so many people are following. But it's like, actually, a lot of the time we've seen it, like they're not always the best.
Yeah. And I think that's when you've got to look at, again, once you found that connection with someone, like I can get along with that person, I think we'd hit it off.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how I got my first coach, which is Dan.
Yeah.
Dan's my first coach. I was looking at him and Mike, and I was like, it was such like I couldn't really split it. I was like, and I think I actually went through the website in the end, and I said I didn't mind which coach.
Yeah. So
I went with.
So I was very similar. So obviously I work with Mike, don't I? And I'd come across them both at a seminar that they spoke at, and then followed them for probably a couple of years before I inquired. And I messaged Mike, but I only messaged Mike.
On that point, that is something that I think is really important. So I think that you should follow someone for a period of time.
Yeah. So we'll get into that as well, but definitely don't just jump. Like, for example, if your mate gets into shape, don't just say, oh, who did it? And then message them straight away and try and sign up, because you don't know how they necessarily work. Like, they're probably very good at the job, but it might just not fit what you want to do. So do follow them for a bit first, like watch what the content, watch what they're putting out, watch how they work, watch what they spend the time doing, and then just build a bit of a connection from that. And if that works, great. Then you know, if you spend that time getting to know them first, it's going to be such a smoother transition
Yeah.
than just going, oh, well, they got into good shape. This person helped them. So I'm going to go with this person. And then getting a few weeks into it and be like, oh, this isn't actually what I'm.
Yeah, that's it. The best clients I've got are people that I've probably built a bit of a connection with over
Yeah.
time. So they might have followed me for 6 months even.
But
And,
we say that
you
to
know,
people, like, we get it a lot where, maybe not a lot, but we do get it sometimes where people will message us completely out the blue
all the
of
time.
they only just followed us and be like, how much is coaching? And we always tend to say, look, I'm happy to have that conversation with you, but why don't you just follow us for a couple of weeks first? Watch a couple of the YouTube episodes, watch a couple of the podcasts, whatever. Follow us for a bit first, get a sense of what we're about and how we work. And then
if you like us, because you
yeah,
might think we're complete knobs, I
yeah,
wouldn't blame you if that's
no,
the case.
and then if you're still interested, then we'll have a conversation.
Yeah.
But before that point, and we're sort of almost doing ourselves out of a job, but it does save that sort of that hurdle down the road, a month down the road, 2 months down the road, where that person might turn around and be, actually, this isn't what I was looking for. And then it's like 2 months of work, pretty much pointless, and
Yeah.
too much of expenses for that person, pointless. So we do push them towards that. But yeah, no, getting back to, so I obviously worked with Mike for a while. I messaged Mike, and I don't know if I've even mentioned it to him, but I didn't message him being like, I want to sign up with Mike. Again, I wasn't bothered between him or Dan. I just didn't know how it would work between them. So I didn't know if you messaged Mike or Dan, you'd then basically speak to both of them, or they just assign you to one of them. So I was like, oh, well, I'll message Mike. I'll see sort of what the situation is, see if, you know, if he is interested or if Dan's interested. I'll get to meet them both and then I'll make a decision. But he wasn't. I literally messaged Mike and he was just like, yeah, let's get on a call, let's go. And then we just set up and went from there. So I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, there wasn't like the intention to go directly with Mike, but
Yeah, but again, you followed him for a couple of years.
Oh,
Followed
yeah.
both of them for a couple of
for a
years.
long time.
I didn't
yeah.
follow them for that long, actually. I think it was literally a couple of months. But I had I'd been with a business mentor, like, to put it polite, and he was just a bit of a dick. So I was like, well, actually, I want to be coached by someone who, I think, again, just going back to values, and I like listening to what those two were saying again, you know. So I was like, okay, well, I'll connect with them. And again, you know, I wasn't bothered which one I went with because I could just see that they both got results.
Yeah, I was there.
You know, and it was
they were a good laugh.
speaking sense, and they were a good laugh. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on with either of these two regardless.
Yeah,
I went through the
exactly.
website. It was Dan who ran me in the end. I was like, fuck's sake. No, and we got a great result. I think I did 2 photo shoots with Dan in the end,
Yeah.
and like any, you know, fast forward to now, same with you and Mike. It's
Yeah.
you know, we're now part of the team.
Yeah, it's literally that. So it's, you know, when it comes to looking for a coach, follow that person, not physically, because you'll get into trouble for that. But
Don't stalk them, yeah.
yeah, follow that person's socials for a while, you know, for a month or two, just to get an idea of what they're about, what they do, how they work, how it runs, everything like that. Get as much information as you can, and then jump on a call with them, and then you can chat to them in person and see what they're about. Even just speak to them, like how many times, like we have loads of conversations with people. That he's literally just conversation.
I never speak to people about fitness.
I never message anyone.
People are surprised by that.
But I mean, it's bad in it at the minute. Like, there's in the industry, like, there's so many people that will just send those cold DMs of, "Hey, how are you? And can I help you with your fitness and nutrition?" Like, I get them from video editors. I never respond to any of them.
Are you ready?
Every single day.
For Instagram to blow up, and it's like, mate, you've got
every single day
followers.
And the way we view it, and the way we view it is, if that's how we respond to that, that's how everyone's going to respond to if we would. And it's just not us. So like, I never have conversations with people about actual fit unless they instigate it and they come to me with a question. I never message anyone being like, "How's your fitness? How's your training? How's your nutrition?"
Never.
Like,
it's
never.
About football. It's about gym.
Literally.
It's just about it's just general life.
Yeah.
You know, taking a piss out of my meals. You know, anything. Just something like that.
Yeah.
Just having a bit of a laugh. And again, they're the relationships that you should be building with someone.
Yeah. But as a checklist, it is literally follow them for a bit first. You know, get to know them, see what they're about, how they work. Then, you know, do they actually get results? Do they work with people that are like yourself? Like, are they getting similar results to what you want to get to? Are they getting good feedback from those clients? So are they putting up, whether it's written feedback or video feedback from clients that they've worked with, talking about their experiences and how they found it? And if they literally tick all those boxes,
do they have a mustache?
Do they have a mustache? If they do, stay away from creepy. And if they tick all those boxes, then yeah, it's probably then you're probably in a good position to be like, yeah, this will probably go quite well. Yeah. Instead of it just being like, that person got in shape with them, I'm just going to drop them a message and see what it's about.
Yeah, and again, you know, just remember that followers don't necessarily mean that that person's a great coach. It just means that they're very good on Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah.
So again, as Jake says, just follow a bunch of coaches for a period of time, you know, and just see who you think would match your values, and are you going to be able to get along with that person, have a laugh with that person, open up to that person when things aren't going well? Are you going to be able to be honest with them if you've had a bad week, if you've fucked up? All really important.
Yeah, because I think as well with the way socials have gone, like stuff like recipe videos are massive, aren't they, nowadays? Like a lot of coaches putting on, and that's fine if that's what you want to do. For me, I wouldn't do that because I don't give enough of a shit about making meals that enjoyable. Like I want them to be nice, but I can't be asked filming how I'm cooking them and making new recipes. And I'll say that to people on the call when they're like, "Oh, are you going to give me recipes? Are you going to give me meals?" And I'm sort of like, "Well, I can give you a basic structure of the kind of foods to look for, but in terms of recipes, I'm like, you're asking the wrong person. Like you could Google that sort of thing."
I mean, I actually have like a bunch of recipe books or something.
Yeah, I do that. I paid for years ago, but
and I do give them. I
don't think I've looked at
I
them.
don't actually think people use them because again,
They're a novelty, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a novelty, and not just that. It's not about the recipes. It's about, and I think that's what people think. And again, that's what we have to do with coaching: is we bring them and go, well, listen. It's not about the type of food you're eating. It's your mindset towards the food that we need to change. And actually, when people realize that, they start to go, okay, cool. Well, I can just eat the things that I want to eat and not the stuff that he wants me to eat. And again, that's another topic. But you know, that's why meal plans, etc., don't always work.
Yeah, it's just that, like, we're here to help you get in shape, or the shape that you want to get in. Like, we're not here to give you loads of different recipes. And whatever way that means, like, to help you get in shape, if that is a meal plan.
BBC Good Food have fucking thousands. You literally don't need us for that.
Yeah, literally. And sometimes it is a meal plan, depending on the client. Sometimes, most of the time, it's not. It just depends on the person.
Exactly.
It just depends on the person.
But yeah, so
I think that's it.
That's kind of it. So
we've got to cover anything else with that. Just take your time. Don't rush into a decision.
And make sure you pick me.
Well, I was going to say, if you have been following me for a while now and you haven't reached out yet and you don't think I'm a knob, it's probably a good time to do it.
Nice one, guys.
See you in the next one.
Bye.